As a short introduction, because most of you already are familiar with these BYOD multimedia guides, but let me remind, especially to those of you who are here for the first time, that these multimedia guides are a next step of development of audio guides. They provide, of course, not only text and audio, but also images, moving images, and some kind of interaction. And as for the acronym BYOD, it's for Bring Your Own Device. It means that we do not rent the devices, we use the devices that the visitors bring with them, which means mostly smartphones, but possibly some tourists also come with tablets. This may also work. As for the gamification, which is an important element of our platform, gamification is the use of game-specific design elements in context other than games. So using this platform, you can define challenges for visitors so that they have to answer some questions, they have to visit some places, which are optional. You can award them with virtual prizes, which can be status as a level, or virtual items, badges. You can also provide several options of routes developed for different player types like conquerors, explorers, socialists, killers. And of course, gamification, you want to achieve three desirable effects, that is which is something which is impressive, aha, which is something which is educational, and also haha, which is something which is fun. Okay, so developing such an application was the goal of our project, BalticMuseums LoveIT. We had about 8 countries, 17 partners from all around the southern shore of Baltic, and I've switched for the entire screen. I hope that you can see it better.
Thank you.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, but I have to switch to the slide that I was before the moment because it started from the beginning. I'm sorry for doing this so late. So we had, among others, Malmö Museums, Naturborholm, Lithuanian Sea Museum in Klaipėda with their delphinarium, Gdynia Aquarium, and Experiment Science Center also in Gdynia. So if we compare our proposal with the existing universal labs, they have no or minimal support for gamification. They are also open source apps which require a lot of IT knowledge and significant amount of work. And also there are commercial proposals. First of all, they are usually very expensive, but also have limited configurability. And also you always risk losing your tours when the service provider goes out of the business. In our case, we provide you with the source code, so even if you are not using our cloud platform, you can use just your own server and you are independent from whatever happens. Okay, I have interesting film about how we develop these apps, but I believe we have no time now for viewing it. So let me switch to the next slide. Here is a short list of things which we have developed. First of all, we have developed software for creating gamified guided tours and their management, which is sort of software similar to the content management system that you use for your web pages. And also we developed an application programming interface so that an external application can connect to our CMS. The second element was that mobile web application, which allows visitors to use their phones as guides. And this particular application connects to our CMS. But of course, you can develop any application provided it is compliant with our API. It can also connect to our CMS. So in reality, you don't really have to use our app. You may find reasons to develop your own. And we also developed a cloud platform which gives access to 1 and 2. So as I said, you can install this software on your own server, but you can use our cloud platform so that you wouldn't have to install anything. You just can use the software as it is installed by us. We also developed a brand which allows visitors to recognize the availability of the service at a given attraction. We'll see this brand now. As you can see, this is a very eye-catching logo. It shows a labyrinth because gamification is kind of game, so we know labyrinths from games. We have to find a route. Also, this logo is somehow resembles the logo for Wi-Fi because it's easier for visitors to understand that they need internet connection to be able to use these apps. Of course, this logo is not already widely known, but we believe when the museums start using our platform, the visitors will become familiar with this logo. And when they see this logo near an entrance to some museums, they would know that this kind of service is available, so they can take out the phones from their pockets and look for a guide in this particular location. So looking at the technical side, we have a database which stores data about the routes, including gamification data. We have the web CMS, which makes it possible to create and modify data in this database using web browser. We have a web service which provides data from this database and processing gamification rules. And we have the mobile web application, which presents data obtained through this service to the visitors and forwards events generated by the visitors back to the service. As a model which is behind our platform, as you can see, I noted 7 points which define this model. So first of all, each museum has its own separate copy of the system. It does not have to be stored on your own server. As I said, it can be a copy on our cloud platform. However, it means that no other museum will meddle with your database or your software. So there is no risk that one museum destroys the root of another museum, because these are completely separate servers, independent from each other, and the risk of one museum hurting any other museum is zero. A museum, in our model, may comprise several objects or areas. This means that if you have a museum like we have in Malmö, then there are actually several museums connected under a single organization, so you may develop different areas so that you may use a single name to guide the visitor to the particular organization starting point, and then the visitors could select one of the areas, one of the sub-museums covered in the guide. The third point is that you can offer any number of routes in each area, so there is no limit. It is up to you how much time you want to spend on developing the routes. You may have as many as you want, there is no limit. Each route consists of a series of different types of screens. So we have a default screen. I will talk about the types later, but there's a default screen which is basically an audio guide with an image and text, but you can develop your own types of screen. You can also use different types of screens to make a route more versatile. The screens can be assigned to physical sites. So you may have a relation between a physical site and a screen in the app. You can use QR codes to make this connection physical. Each screen can contain museum-defined content presented depending on its type, which means that this is you who provide the content, and the content is completely defined by you, which means that this app doesn't provide any required elements of the content. You can do it on your own. And finally, user activity on any screen can initiate museum-defined gamification rules. So whenever user or visitor does anything, like read some text, view some movie, answers particular question, you may react to it, like adding a point to his score or her score, giving a badge, or doing similar thing. As for the basic screen types, I will show you them on the following slides, but here is a list. So maybe I'm not going to read this list because we shall see the screens here. So let's start with the welcome screen, because it's the first screen that a visitor sees when he visits the web page associated with the guide. Of course, we suggest using QR codes to make it easier for the visitors to get to your guide. But of course, there is a short URL which links exactly to this screen. At this screen, as you can see, there's the graphics. You can define these graphics. At the bottom, there are the required logos provided, in this case, by us, the name of the project, the symbol, the brand symbol, and the logos of the financing institutions. Here you can select the language that you would like to be guided with. The second screen type is the standard or default screen type, where you can have text, sound, images, and movies. Of course, you may have everything at the same slide. Here we have two examples. One is with image and text, the other is with movie and text. But of course, you may have everything at once. You may also have many images, you may have many movies. And of course, you may have background sound, which reads actually the text so that the visitor doesn't have to look at the app. If he or she has headphones, he or she may travel around and listen to the guide. The next screen type is the avatar or guide selection screen. As you can see here, you can pick either your avatar. This is the example on the right, that you impersonate a kind of person. In this case, this is a blood cell. And on the left, you may also select, on the left, actually, you select a person who will be guiding you. So our idea is that either the text is provided in a very specific form, either written by a younger person, an older person, or the whole tour is including different points of interest depending on what you choose. So of course, this choice should affect the content after making it. This is kind of gamification. We have a visitor status screen. Here is, first of all, the picked avatar. The name of the user, I did not say that before, but the visitors may log in using their Google accounts, Facebook accounts, or log in anonymously. In this case, the login is generated automatically. As you can see, it's a combination of digits. It means nothing. And then you can see how many points you have, which level you're at. If you collected any badges, they will be listed here also. And you can also change the language here and log out. The next screen type is the panoramic view. As you can see on a portion of the screen, it's much bigger. You can slide around this huge image. As you can see, there are embedded active areas put onto the screen. When you click on those active areas, you are moved either to a default item or to a pop-up item, which can be closed, and then you return to this main panoramic view. These active areas may be marked in different ways. This is the default marking using numbers. However, you may draw icons and put the icons, if you prefer, in the points of interest. The visitors can access a list of areas showing all the areas that you provided them, if you have more than one area. You may also provide a map of your museum or the area where several objects are located. And this is an optional way of picking a place to be guided. So instead of list, you may see a map. Here is a list of locations. This is similar to list of areas. Instead of areas, we have locations here. So you may get to a particular location using a list instead of a map. So the user is allowed to switch between a map and list view. We provide a configurable menu. So if you'd like to have a menu in your app, you can define its items. These items may lead the visitor to a particular point of interest or to a survey or to something else. So it's up to you whether you actually want to have a menu and what you want to have inside this menu. This is also a part of gamification quiz. You can provide questions which can be both verbal and graphic. So it could be text, it could be some images, both as questions and as the predefined answers. The user picks the correct answer and gets immediate response, whether it was correct or not. Of course, if it was correct, you may award the correct answer with points or badges or something else, or just letting visitors into a part of museum. And also, we know that you like to make surveys among visitors, so this app provides a tool for defining your own questionnaire. You can define questions that you want. They also may have a different form, selection questions, full text questions, and you may put this questionnaire at the end of the tour or maybe in the middle of it. And this way you can get, I believe, more returns, and it is much less hassle than asking your personnel to ask visitors about their opinions. We also have this QR code scanner. So if you use QR codes, you may put them on specific places, and then the visitor can use this app to scan the code, and he or she will be navigated to the particular point of interest in the guide that explains the specific point of interest. Of course, this is optional. You don't have to use it. It depends on, of course, on the attraction. This is an example of cards, that is pop-up views, which may be, first of all, initiated with some hyperlinks inside your text. So if you want to provide more detailed information without making the default screen too long, you may just mark some parts of text or images as active. When the user clicks on them or touches them with their fingers, then a pop-up window appears with some detailed information about particular content. And I have scrolled it a bit down when making this screenshot, but there is a big X at the top. So when you click that X, you go back to the previous screen every time. Okay, so now I have shown you what the visitor sees, and now a bit of what is behind this app. So what you have to do in order to make the visitor be able to see whatever he or she is supposed to see. So this is our CMS. I will start this movie. I'm not. This is already started from what I see because. Okay. One thing I'm not sure of is whether you can hear, because I have a recorded comment for this. From what I can see, it's not starting yet. So I believe we do have some network connection problem. So maybe I will say a few words about it, because I think it's impossible to make this movie working. At least I cannot see it. Oh, it's working, because I can see something has changed. So, but you cannot see any comments. So let me go back to the previous view. So this is the main view of the CMS. This is the list of items. You can filter them by selecting a specific route. As you can see, this is the U3 submarine. This is BalticMuseums content management system. They have a submarine, so they have a route guiding around this submarine. And as you can see, this is a kind of table with screens listed one after another. You can see that the screens have their numbers, they have their names. The first screen is of default type. It is connected to a specific location. So it's not a screen which is virtual. It has its own place in the space of the submarine. We have some resources connected to this screen, like audio, like an image. And this is a screen which is connected to another screen, torpedo room. I'm talking about this introduction screen, the one, the upper portion of the screen. And we have a description. So this is the text which will be displayed to user. As you can see, only English description is input here. So, but you can provide any translations you want. You just click add and specify the language and type in the translation in that language. And what is also important, we have QR code. They do not use QR codes in Malmö, but if they used, they would specify the QR code here. And also every item can be active or not. When you click on the edit icon here, you will see something that you have already seen for a moment. Cannot get it working.
Jakub? Jakub?
Yes.
Could we provide these
Yes.
videos afterwards when you've recorded them, so we put them on our website?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, so I'd share a link afterwards.
I think we can provide you. Yes, that's the best solution, because I can see we have these network problems, and that's the problem. So maybe because of these issues, I will switch to the next slide, because it makes no sense to tell you about things that you cannot see. Okay. So the next movie is about designing a route, but I expect similar problems here. And what can I say? The
Jakub,
video which is trying to load. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe we just, because these are explanatory videos how to use the system, so maybe that's good to look for yourself. So I think if you just say the main points and then move on, so we have some time to, because you will talk about how others could use it, which options are there. So that would be good, I think.
Yeah, sure. So as you can see, this is how we design a route, because I hope that you can see the screen that I can see. You just select the items which form the route. You may link them. You may add child items. And this is how you design a route, how you build a route from these component items. I will switch to the next movie. Once again, we have some delay, but as I said before, we can group screens depending on the location they're connected to. So you may have one or more screens which provide some content about a particular location grouped, marked with that location. So whenever the visitor uses the map view and clicks on a particular location, he or she is directed to screens connected to the location. And this is how it looks like. This is actually route definition. As you can see, there is a list of location, a list of items connected to that route. So you may actually add new points of interest in a very easy way. You can remove. When you add a new item, editing a specific route, automatically this item is connected to that route. But of course, you can remove it later, create another route. Okay, I will switch to the next slide. And of course, every route, as you can see, has its identification image, which is shown in the route selection screen. Actually, these routes are similar, so the law are also similar. As I said, our app allows you to define gamification rules. So we have a dedicated editor which allows you to specify these rules. And the rule basically is composed of two elements: conditions and results. Conditions specify an event or a combination of events that has to happen to trigger the rule, like visiting a place, like passing specific number of points, like answering specific number of questions. And the result is actually what is the award for given by the rules. So if the visitor does something, then you may specify the reward for doing it. What you see on the screen right now is the badge editor. But of course, once again, this movie is stalled. But this is how it looks like. It's very easy. You just specify the name of badge, you specify some short description, and then the badge is added. Okay. Okay, if you'd like to try any of existing guides, as you heard before, we have the museum partners, but these guides are not developed by our proper museum partners, because our proper museum partners still have time till the end of July to finish their work. So while they have the guides almost ready, they would like to work a bit longer on them to remove any possible errors. But here are demo guides provided by our external partners who used. One is a museum in the city of Szczecin in Poland. The two other are some non-government organizations who have developed some routes around the city. So you may see how it works in practice using these demos. One important notice is that these tools were developed, first of all, by people who, as I said, mostly non-government organizations, so they had not a lot of time for this task. They had little knowledge of this platform. So one important thing is that these demo tools are very simple. You can do much more complicated tours, and this is what our project partners are doing right now. So be aware, so this is just a short demonstration. It doesn't go deep, because this is the minimum what you can get with a very small effort from this app. As you can see, there are the links to these apps. You can view them in your browsers. As I said before, this presentation will be provided to you because it's in the internet. So we'll be able later to visit these places and have a look how it looks there. And the brand that I mentioned is an important element of our consortium. As for now, the consortium members are the project members, but we are open for any museum who would like to join us. And what we provide as a consortium is the brand and the software. So, but generally the consortium is open for any museum or non-museum tourist attraction who is going to use gamified guides. It doesn't matter what technology you use, whether our platform or a different platform. The important thing that you provide these BYOD guides to the visitors, and you provide some level of gamification. This is enough to join our consortium as a full member. We also think about technical or supporting members who have another role. They provide either some technical knowledge or who provide some promotion for our consortium. So even before you start providing these guides, you may also join our consortium as this kind of member. And short proposals how these results of our project could be used by you. One option is to join the consortium. Of course, we strongly recommend joining this consortium, but what then? You can use our cloud platform. And then all you have to do is to pay a small share of the maintenance costs that have to be paid every year for keeping the server working in the internet. You may also configure the shared software on your own server. So then you have only those costs that you already have if you have a web page. You may also develop shared software in any direction. So our software is open. If you believe that something has to be added, you have an IT specialist who could do that. This is okay. We also, in another situation, when you want something to be changed, but you do not have IT staff, then we provide support and contact with IT companies who developed this software, and also with content creators who already worked with our platform, and so they know it well, to do the difficult work for you. And also, you may develop your own software and use only the brand. This is also an option. It's up to you. How would you like to cooperate with our consortium? To sum things up, the main result of the BalticMuseums LoveIT project is a universal software for guiding visitors using their own mobile devices. This software is available in the cloud and for installation on your own server. We have also developed a trademark for branding interactive guides, which is not linked to the used platform. So you can use it with our software, but you can also use it with your own software. And the only condition for using all of the above is joining the consortium. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, of course, I hope that you will ask some of them now, but later you may contact either Susanna or me. Doesn't matter because we are both well aware and we communicate with each other. The only difference is that if you want to ask in German, it's better if you ask Susanna because my knowledge of German is very limited. So once again, thank you, and I'm looking forward to your questions.
Yes, thanks, Jakub. So our guests are invited to, if you have any questions so far. As far as I can see, most of you have seen Jakub already presenting, and I had registered some other international guests for today who probably couldn't make it, so it's good that we are recording and making this available. But yeah, you could unmute yourselves and speak, or just write in the chat. I see Carsten.
Okay, I can see the first question.
Yeah, Carsten has already written.
Yeah. Okay, so the answer is that we use PostgreSQL, which is also an open source software. So there are no costs involved.
Does it answer your question, Carsten, or okay?
And that's as for the language, because you also asked about this PHP. So the backend is written in Python. So we need a Python interpreter. However, Python is also open source language, so there are also no costs involved. And as for the front end, this app, it is written in JavaScript so that it works in a browser, modern browser. So the front end is in JavaScript, the backend is in Python. And both of these are open source. So there's no problem in paying any licenses to any commercial companies.
Okay, Carsten. Right, okay, perfect. Thank you. More questions? Okay, maybe someone is still typing. You could also just unmute your microphone if you wish. All right. If there are no more questions at this point, Jakub, yeah, you have entered our email addresses, shown that you could contact me, and for all the technical things, I'll get then in touch with Jakub to check on the details and see also how you maybe could test it. I think good advice is to have a look at the samples Jakub has given, and also towards the very end of this month, I think we can add more more live systems that our partners are using. So there will be in the course of this year more samples to look at and give you inspiration how to set it up and what you could do actually with this software. And Jakub, you said
if I may add something,
please.
Because I just wanted to say that from what I learned this morning, that was too late to change that slide, but from what I learned this morning, the Malmö Museums app is almost finished. So I think I will add this one address to the slide so that you could see how it looks in Malmö Museums. One more example.
Okay.
But of course, the most developed app is the one developed by the Science Center Experiment. They have very complicated app, and this would be a great example, but they haven't finished it yet. So it's you can see part of it, but it's in a mess because you follow some path and then you get to a screen which is at that point. So this is why they asked me not to use their app at the moment as a example, but as soon as they have it, I believe this is the great example because they put a lot of work and make it impressive. So I think it will be the best example of using our platform.
Yeah, we can share that later. And you also said for using the platform, you have developed this manual, so how to use it actually, which buttons to click to make it work. That will be documented.
I would like also to inform you that we have this written manual as a kind of book. Of course, it's a PDF file, but right now we have decided to develop an interactive tutorial for this. And we are going to use actually our platform as a backend for this tutorial. So it will be a guide for our guide. And I believe it will be because we had a lot of questions from the museums how to do certain thing because the manual is quite formal and they wanted to see an example of how to perform specific procedures. So we decided it would be the best idea to use the platform itself to be a guide for it. And we have already started to work on it. And I believe in a week from now, it should be finished. And it will be a great help for you who want to start from the scratch, develop such guides using our technology.
And would it be possible for some of the participants to have like a test access to such a backend to have a look? What do you think?
Yes, we do have a test CMS platform, which is already used by some external museums to have a look at it works in the backend. Of course, if anyone is interested, I can provide a login and password to it. The only problem is that there is a mess. So if you want to see something which makes sense, then sorry, but everybody can edit it and there is a lot of trash. But you may have the impression of working in the CMS. And I believe this is, for me, it is no problem to provide you the access to this test platform. The only problem is that the content there is completely makes no sense. So you won't see any working guide using this content, but just particular content elements.
Okay. So meanwhile, I was checking. I don't see more questions coming in so far. So a final, yeah, Julia. Okay. Can you speak, Julia, or do you have a microphone? Or we wait until you have written.
Yes, we have feedback because actually our project required us to have feedback. And Susanna knows better the numbers. I believe it's over 300 responses. Susanna, could you please answer this question?
Yeah, we have different kinds of feedback. Now you're asking for a single museum, and actually we are in the same situation that you had, Julia. So most of our partner museums were closed. I think all of them except for Malmö. And in Malmö, they could maintain open, but there were hardly any visitors. So we had to adapt this feedback process a little bit. And what we have done is to ask people test the guide online. For some guide options that was possible. And the feedback was positive in using it. And what we also ask is, what does it, if people are interested in having such a guide in general, yeah, would that make them visit the museum more often, or would they be more positive to the museum if they knew there was such a guide, or if there's no possibility in going in a group like in current situation, would that be good? And all of these questions, they were really positive. Yeah, it's not for everyone, but for the majority, they are very interested in such a guide, even accessing it via the web for some aspects where you don't even have to come to in the first step to the exhibition, as in the situation we just had. But for the numbers, we cannot tell yet, because this is a very weird situation with really no good numbers to work with. So for all our partners, we have in total, I think, 450 answers in total, but that's far away from what are usual figures when all museums are open in a regular way. But we could stay in touch on that, Julia, for the future. We don't know really. Most of the museums in our group said that they still have, they are all reopened, but have less visitors than before.
And they also make the visitors go very fast through the museum. So they do not think, I spoke to Gdynia Aquarium, and they said they do not want to slow them down, asking them to answer this survey. So it's quite difficult to them to get the visitors to answer anything.
Yeah, exactly. And they
Thank
should
you
not.
for the question.
Yeah. And also for having real paper reviews, they should not at the moment like gather people in a crowd. So we could not do that either. So yeah. Okay, more questions. Let's see.
While waiting for more questions, I will tell you about one more thing which I forgot in my presentation, that this data gathered from the visitors about how they interact with this app, view something, visit specific location, they are of course stored at the server. So I believe this is the very valuable data for analysis of your tours, so that you can see which points of interest the visitors spend most time at, if there are some correlation between different points of interest. So I think this is another aspect of this app which makes some sense, to be able to analyze how the visitors using this app behaved. Of course, I do not expect 100% of the tourists to use this kind of app. Rather, a few percent, maybe 20% is difficult to tell, but I believe it's still far more data that you can gather compared to whether you just make some observation of visitors, because with this approach, you just get a kind of promile of visitors observed, not percent, for instance. But of course, we have a difficult situation because of the virus, which changes everything, but I hope we shall go out of it sometime.
Yeah. And also, maybe I can add something to it. It's also important how you promote the app, of course, but visualize the app in your exhibition. Where do you have places to remind the people of using the app? And Malmö Museum, for example, has done an observation of people entering the submarine. How do they behave there? What do they do? And for example, they saw that people with children, in this moment when they get to the submarine, they are so fixed with their kids to not fall down that they don't really have time to look at anything else. So there was this QR code placed, and where you could access the app, and in this very moment people with children were distracted. So also that is really important. And I think what we've seen also in other museums, not only at the entrance, but also inside the exhibition at certain points, that you remind of it, and that you provide other access points as well. Yeah.
Yes, this is, I believe that this brand logo is very helpful, because if you introduce the visitors to this logo at the entrance, and then they will see it in certain spots, so it will be a reminder, because it's sometimes so that the visitors forget that there's a kind of e-guide available, and they come to a specific point that they have questions, they would like to ask someone about what is this about, but they don't remember that they could use this e-guide. And this reminder, as Susanna said, I believe it's something which would increase the use of these guides, because seeing just this information at the entrance is not enough. But this is also important, because I remember what we were doing study visits in certain museums in Europe. We saw that in many museums, even though they have these e-guides, they did not really market them. They it was like, if you looked for the name of the museum in Google, then you have found these guides. But the museum itself, there was no information, or the information was very small, hidden, and nobody ever knew that they could use this app. So it's important to make it visible.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have further questions? If you don't have any, just put a no or something so we know. Yeah, because I can't see if someone's just writing. It's only when you're finished writing that we can get aware of it. Thanks, Julia. Maria, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's give it a few more moments. Okay, thank you. The Straßenkasten, okay. So I think then we have everyone here. Yeah, Jakub, a big thank you to you.